I'm going to be remaking Minecraft mobs into Skibidi Toilet. The first character I'll make is the large TV man, and I'm gonna use the warden to make him. First, I'm gonna remove all this stuff that we don't need, and then I'm going to change his legs and make him taller, and we'll just change his body to match his legs a little bit more. Large TV man's arms obviously aren't this big, so let's just give him some new arms, and we'll give him some hands as well. Now we can work on adding his TVs. First, let's make his main TV. We'll give him a little stand like this. Now I'll make his head more of a rectangle just like a TV, and I think that looks pretty good. Now we just have to add his arms on his back to hold the other TVs. And lastly, I'm going to add some more detail and color in his body, and I think that looks pretty good. Let's add him to the game. This is the large TV man in game. He actually looks really good, although he moves kind of weird, but I'm still saying he looks good. He's also really strong and has a ton of health. If you do kill him, he drops a jukebox, because if you kind of think about it, it's kind of like a video player. Subscribe or the large TV man will mistaken you for a toilet. I'm going to give the large TV man a 9 out of 10. He looks pretty good, but his walking is really weird. Next, I'm going to make the dual Buzzsaw car, and I'm going to use a pillager to make him. We'll start by making his legs into circles for tires, and then start by making the toilet. And I'm going to use the pillager head as the head, and we'll make sure to add the toilet water in. The tires were looking pretty small, so let's fix that by making them a little bigger. Next, we'll give him his protection on the front of the toilet, and then we can add the toilet seat on the back, and then add the back of the toilet. Next, I'll add his arms and make the buzzsaw on top. Now we can copy this to the other side, and yeah, that looks pretty good. Let's add it to the game. This is how the Buzzsaw car looks in game. He actually looks pretty cool. His buzzsaws look a little glitchy, but I think it makes it look like they're moving. He also moves incredibly fast, just like a real car. So let's see if I can outrun him. And no, it doesn't look like I can. I also made it where if you kill him, he'll drop a diamond axe, because that's the most similar to a buzzsaw. He's not that strong though, and gets destroyed by a large TV man. Oh, and I also made it to where you can ride him because he's a car. I decided to give dual Buzzsaw car an 8 out of 10. I really like the way he turned out. Next, I'll make the scientist toilet, and I'm going to use a skeleton for it because he looks really old. So let's just remove his whole body because we only need his head, and we'll start out by making the toilet. So first, we'll start by making this more circular. Now let's expand these walls a little, and then we'll add a base to the toilet and add the back of the toilet as well. Next, we need to add the speaker that goes on the front, and then add the 2 helicopter speakers on the side. Next, I'm going to add the glasses that he wears, and we'll also put the red spot that he has. Now let's give him his arms. So I'm going to start by making them look like this. Now let's copy it to the other side, and lastly, let's give him his flashlight on the side of his head. And I think that looks pretty good. Let's see how it looks in game. This is a scientist toilet in game, and this is by far one of my favorite ones I made so far. He's also able to hover over the ground instead of walking. The scientist toilet looks insanely powerful. I gave him a range attack, and you know he's powerful because he almost died from his own attacks. And this is what he does to a large TV man. He literally didn't even stand a chance. It's going to take a combined effort to take him down. It seems the only way the scientist toilet can be taken down is if he kills himself. If he does manage to die, he will drop an enchanted book, because that seemed the most science related. I'm going to give the scientist toilet a 10 out of 10. I'm pretty sure this is my favorite mob so far. He looks really good. Next, I'm going to make the Astro toilet, and I'll use a blaze because they can both fly. First, let's get rid of all of his legs. We'll keep this one though, which we'll use to make the toilet. Next, we'll make the toilet the same way we made the scientist toilet, and then we'll add the laser attached to the bottom. And now it's time to work on the ring that goes around him. So I'll make a box like this and color the outside brown, and then I'll make a gray box inside and just copy this around the entire toilet. Now we just have to attach it to the toilet, and lastly, we'll give him this outer ring that he has. And I think this is looking good. Let's see how it looks in game. This is the Astro toilet in game, and something looks little wrong. Yeah, I probably shouldn't have made him out of a blaze. The burning particles really don't fit here, but other than that, he turned out pretty good. The Astro toilet is also able to fly just like in the actual series, and just like in the series, I'm going to make him in the scientist toilet fight. He's not that strong as he got absolutely crushed by him. I think I made the scientist toilet a little too OP. When he dies though, he drops a piece of endstone, because Astro is short for astrometer, which is related to space. Overall, I think the Astro toilet looks good other than the particles, so because of that, I'm going to give him a 6 out of 10. Next, I'll make Titan cameraman, and I'll use an iron golem to make him. First, let's start by making him a little taller, and then we'll shape his body to match his legs, and I'm just going to color him black for now. Next, let's make his head into a camera. I'll make it into a rectangle rectangle, and then I'll add the lens in the middle. Okay, now let's give him the cameras that are attached to his shoulders. So I'll just make a smaller version of what I did for the main camera, and then copy it to the other side. And next we'll give him his big core in the chest. I also forgot he has 2 more bigger cameras on his shoulders, so let's add those real quick. Now we can add some detail to his body by giving him his suit, and I think that looks pretty good. Let's add him to the game. This is the Titan cameraman in game, and he's definitely pretty big. He also moves really weird, but unfortunately it's gonna stay like that. I also gave him the same attack as the scientist toilet, but it's not enough to kill him. When will the scientist toilet lose? Titan cameraman drops an armor stand when he dies. I don't really know why though, and for some weird reason he just attacks anything that comes near him, even if it's himself. I think I'm going to give Titan cameraman a 5 out of 10. I wasn't really a fan of how he looks. Next I'm going to make Strider camera, and I'll use a zombie to make it because why not? First let's get rid of all this stuff, and now we can start to make the camera. So first let's make the main body of the camera, then we'll add a bigger box for where the camera will be, and then we'll make a lens to go into the center. Next I'm going to color everything, and now I'm going to add the handle, and then add the microphone that goes on top of it, and next let's add the laser that goes on the bottom, and lastly I'm going to add their legs, and I think that looks really good. Let's add her to the game. This is how the Strider camera looks in game. It actually looks really good, well except that his back leg is not attached, and unfortunately it's going to stay that way. He's also really weak as he easily dies to a Buzzsaw car. When he dies, he also drops a spyglass because it kind of looks like a camera. I ended up getting a bunch of Strider cameras to chase me, and it is just very unsettling. They may be on the same team, but I made an army of Strider cameras fight Titan cameraman, where they easily won. I'm going to give Strider camera an 8 out of 10. I liked how the camera turned out. Next I'm going to make Strider's speaker, and I'm going to use a spider to make it because they looked about the same. First let's get rid of everything besides the head. Now let's turn his head into a speaker. So I'll make a big box and then start making a circle in the bottom where the speaker will be. Now we'll add the back of the speaker that sticks out, and then I'll add some details into the side as well. Next I'm going to add his legs, and now all we have to do is color everything in, and I think that looks pretty good. Let's see it in game. This is the Strider speaker in game, and it looks the same as Strider camera just as a speaker, except instead of his leg being broken, they just don't move at all. I then decided to make a Strider camera and a Strider speaker fight to see who's stronger, and they look to be about the same except Strider speaker is a little stronger. Strider speaker is also able to move really fast, and I don't know if this is accurate to the series, but he's also able to climb walls. Overall, I think Strider speaker looks pretty good, so I'm going to give him an 8 out of 10. I mean, it is the same as Strider camera. Next I'll make the speaker woman, and I'll use a witch because they're both females. Let's start by making her legs longer like this. Now let's give her some shoes. Next I'm going to change the shape of her body a little bit like this, and I'll also make her arms a different shape as well. And now it's time to work on her speakers. First I'll make the main speaker like this, then I'll put the little ones she has on the sides, and now we'll give her the main speaker part in the middle, and let's just add her headphones, and now let's just color her in and add some details, and I think that looks pretty good. Let's add her to the game. This is how the speaker woman looks in game. She doesn't look that bad. Well, she has this weird walk animation. It's as if she's hit in the gritty. She's also incredibly weak as a scientist toilet is almost able to one-shot her. So next let's see if an army of speaker woman can take down the scientist toilet. Well, she didn't technically take it out because he killed himself, but I'll still call it a win. I think I'm going to give speaker woman a 4 out of 10. I really didn't like the way she turned out. Subscribe if you want me to make more Skibidi mobs.